These are the first 5 problems from the front side of the study guide. So again, this is exactly what your test is going to look like. The only difference is there'll be different numbers, different equations, different points. Let's take a look at the first problem. It's asking us to write a linear equation. Whenever you see the words write an equation, or write a linear equation, especially linear here, that tells us it's a straight line. You're always going to use this formula. It's going to be y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And what we need from this to use this formula is the slope and a point. Well, we've got our point right here, negative 3, 1. We just need to figure out what the slope is. So they give us some information. They say that this linear equation needs to be parallel. When you think of parallel, you think of lines going in the same direction, just like that. That's the symbol for parallel. So that means the same, we're going to use the same exact slope. So same slope is what we have here. So let's take a look at the line that we have. The line we have, it's a parallel line that goes through this line here, and that slope is 2. So we're going to use 2 as our slope because, again, parallel lines have the same slope. So m equals 2 for this line. The slope is 2 for the line that we're given. The parallel slope, this is the symbol for parallel, m stands for slope, equals the same number, 2. And it needs to pass through this point. So we're going to take the slope, put it in for m. Take the point and put it in for x1 and y1. So let's rewrite what we've got. Y minus 1 equals the slope, which is 2, times by x minus negative 3. So whenever you see a minus negative, right away I change that to plus positive, and then distribute. See what we get. So here we have y minus 1 equals 2x plus 6. And so from there, all we have to do is one step, and we've got our equation in the slope-intercept form. So we have to add 1 to all sides, and we've got it. So y equals 2x plus 7. There is our answer. Again, always box your answers on that test. Well, let's take a look at the next one. Again, we're going to write an equation. So what formula are we using? Point slope right here. That's the formula we need. So it says this time we're going to write it in slope-intercept form, passes through a point. There's our point we're going to use, and is perpendicular. So perpendicular, what's that mean? Well, first thing we need to do is find the slope of the line we're given. It's perpendicular to this line. So the slope of this line is negative 2/3. That's the slope. But we want the perpendicular slope. So there's the symbol for perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular slopes are opposite in sign. So if this one's negative, our sign is going to be positive, and the reciprocal. So 3/2. So that's the big thing you need to remember on this week's test is opposite sign and reciprocal for perpendicular. Well, now we're ready to go. Again, you're using that formula, y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. X minus x1. So we always use that same formula each time. All we're going to do is just plug in different numbers and also figure out the slope. That's all you need to find. It's just the point goes in for y1 and x1. The slope goes in for m. So it goes y minus 2 equals the slope, and that's 3/2, times by x minus negative 4. Again, whenever we see that minus negative right away, we're going to change that to plus positive and then do some work. So 3/2 times the sum inside the parentheses. Let's see what's left over. We've got a y minus 2 equals 3/2 x plus, and then off to the side, maybe do this, 3/2 times by 4/1. 2 goes into 4 2 times, multiply across, gives us 6. So all we have to do from this point is one opposite operation. Just add 2 to both sides, and we'll have our answer. And so there it is. We've got y equals, and then we've got the slope, 3/2 x plus 8 is what we get when we add those two numbers together. Well, the next problem, actually the next 4 problems are going to be solving systems. So we'll have 2 graphing problems to start with. So let's take a look at these. First one, y equals x. When there's no number being added to x, we can always add a number, and that would be 0. So that's our y-intercept. So that's where we're going to start. And then we use the slope. Well, what number can we put in front of the x? Hopefully you said 1. So that slope is 1. So it's 1 over 1. So that means up and then to the right. Up to the right a few times gets you on that line. Well, we can also go the other way as well. We could also go down to the left. So do that a few times, and you've got some points on this line. Once we get a bunch of points there drawn, let's move on to the next line. Here we have a different y-intercept. Y-intercept's -3, so we're going to start down 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Put the dot there. That's our starting point. Well, -2 can be written as a fraction as -2 over 1. So -2 over positive 1 tells me to go down, but then it's a positive 1, so I go right. So down to the right, but that's not getting me to the line. So I need to go to the line. So I need to go the other direction, and that would be a 2 over -1. And those would be the opposites. So it's going to be up and then to the left. And when I go up to the left, I get it to cross. And that's the answer. It's where they cross. It's the ordered pair at which they cross, which is 1 to the left, so -1, and 1 down, so -1. So the answer, -1, -1. There it is. Well, let's take a look at the next one. Another graphing problem. And all we do is look at the y-intercept. Starting point is -3, so 3 spaces down. And then we use the slope. This time we have a 1 to 3. So 1 to 3. So that means up and then to the right. Up and to the right. So we can also go the other way, which would be -1 over -3. And that would be down to the left. So down, left. Down, left. Once you've got a few points, you move on to the next line. Now the next line is not in slope-intercept form. So the common mistake is people will say the slope is 2. It's not 2, though. We need y to be by itself to figure out what the slope of the line is. So I need to subtract that 2x from both sides first. Always isolate the y term. So when I do that, I've got a new line, and that new line, or the new equation, is going to be y equals -2x plus 4. The other mistake people will make is using the wrong value for the slope, maybe the +4 for the slope and -2 for the y-intercept. But remember, the number in front of x is always your slope, as long as y is by itself. So 4, that's the y-intercept. So up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then put the dot, and then use the slope. This is -2 over 1, so down 2, right 1. Well, we're heading to the line, so we'll keep on going until we cross it. Down 2, right 1, and that third time we do it, we end up getting it to cross. And I'll just draw in a couple other dots there to show those points. So what this is 3 spaces to the right and 2 spaces down. And that's our answer. So we write that as 3, -2. That's where the 2 lines will end up crossing. Well, one more problem, at least on this part, then we'll move on to part 2 of this. But here we're asked to solve a system using substitution. So substitution works this way. Look for the variable that's by itself. Y is by itself. So y equals x plus 5. Let's take that x plus 5, let's put it in for y in the equation below. So what's left over? Well, let's go ahead and rewrite our equation. We got 4x plus, but in place of y, let's write the expression y is. Y is x plus 5. Remember, that's what it says it is. It's right up here. Y equals x plus 5. The rest of it, we just bring down. So this all equals 20. And so I just rewrote this equation. 4x plus, and then in place of y, we put the expression y is, and it equals 20. Well, from that point, we just combine some terms. 4x and x makes 5x. And then also move this 5 over, so I'll subtract that from all sides as well. And this all equals 15. Well, one step to go, and we've got x by itself. So we're going to divide by 5. And then we've got x equals 3. Well, that just gives us our x value. We still need to figure out what the y value is. So we need to substitute. We need to take this 3 and put it in for one of these x's. The easiest one, the one that'll give the answer the fastest, is that first one. Whenever you have y by itself, that's a good one to put it into. So y equals x, which is 3, plus 5. And so from that point, all we have to do is add those numbers together, and we've got our answer. So y equals 8. So there it is. We got y is 8 and x is 3. You just write the answer as an ordered pair. 3, 8. There's your answer. Well, the last part will have the last 4 problems on the front side of the study guide.